Yeah, Jenkins, it's the annual lurgy warning device. Yeah, time to start rubbing Vicks on your chest. Yeah. What? Is that what I rub on Mrs. Tweed's chest? Never you mind. Dirty boy. Hello, welcome to Tweed's Garage. In this video we're doing a bit on the Ariel. Yeah, a little bit on the Ariel. So there's a bit of engineering going on, a bit of pressing things apart, and then there's another little side job to do, so a bit more milling, a bit more turning. What else? Oh yeah, got up early, sparrow's fart on Sunday, and went along to the 2025 London to Brighton run, marshalled on that again. Yeah, spent 4 hours standing in the rain, very damp, but it was quite pleasant. It was a good morning, very enjoyable. Met a subscriber, Dave, I think it was, all the way from Yorkshire. Come down to see, no, he hadn't come down to see me.
You come up and see me?
Yeah.
You come up and see me, ain't you?
Yeah.
Ah, I noticed that.
You all right?
Not bad, son.
Come down to see the cars, he just happened to see me. So yeah, hope you made it back. Yeah, so I think what we'll do, without further ado, we'll go down to the bench and have a look at this troublesome Ariel crank again. Down to the bench. So we're back on the Ariel leader stroke arrow cranks. Yeah, keep looking at them and they don't get any better. This one is the one that has the bearing that rides on it, and you can see there, looks like the bearing has been spinning. This is common on these, and you know, that's sort of we've got modern day Loctite bearing fit type solutions for that, which I could put on there. I possibly would, you know, but unfortunately this taper is also badly scored up along there like that, and then the keyway slot, you know, if this wasn't, if this was okay and it was just this damage, I'd weld this up and sort of machine this back in again, but it's all, you can see it's swaged out as well. It's a bit of a mess, and yeah, I think somebody's had some grips or something on there. People are suggesting somebody's just sort of put lots of punch marks in to make the bearing fit on there, but no, I think somebody's, because they're on either side, somebody's grabbed that with a set of pliers, Stilsons, something like that, mole grips, who knows. Anyway, so really, yeah, it's verging on scrap, this one. This side's not so bad. We've got a bit of trenching going on where the seal, the rubber seals run round it. It's a 2-lip seal, so it runs around there, and there's a bit of a lip on there. But that could be cleaned up, and I'd slide the seal on there and just see how tight a fit it is. But we've probably got a bit of give on that. You know, you could probably sort of emery this down a bit. Some of the racers say they leave the groove in, just take the edges off and run it like that, and they say that runs fine. You know, the lip just sits in the groove there and runs there quite happily. So yeah, just need to get rid of that edge. So this side not so bad, but yeah, trying to look for another crank, because I think another crank would probably have damage here and there, and try and make one good one out of the two. But anyway, I need to get it apart, because Dino and I are looking at Lambretta rods to go on here, because you can't get these anymore. They're all sort of reworked and that if you have a crank rebuild done. Yeah, the Lambretta are the same length. I think it's 104mm centre to centre, so they're the right length. Not sure about the pin size and the bearing. I have found some that have sort of more modern bearings in that might be a good solution. Hoping the pin end is was it 14mm, I think, which is the same as the Suzuki pistons that you can use on Ariels. So need to press this apart. So we're over here on the mill, got a bit of plate in here, clamped, and then grips at the back on a jack as well, just to stop it ringing, and this will stop it being pushed that way. I just fancy doing some heavy milling. I mean, I could just get an angle grinder in, cut this out, job be done. It's only to sort of give clearance around the conrod, and then this slide round and hopefully give a bit of support when you're pressing the crank apart. But apparently we've got free lecky, so I want to do some heavy milling. Let's get on it. That's it off the mill, turned out all right. Yeah, I didn't notice, but yeah, something moved a bit between there and there, but it doesn't matter, it's only clearance, just personal pride really. But yeah, that machined that out quite nicely. Took me half an hour to clean the mill up. Cool, it was messy. So yeah, and the plan with this is to go round the flywheel between the crankshaft like that. So it's got clearance for the old connecting rod down the middle, and then hopefully I think there's enough clearance that when we press it out it's not going to bend the con rod either, but we'll see how that goes. We can always put some packers underneath each side just to raise it up a little bit, leave a gap for the con rod. What I want to do though is put some stock on each side here and here, just to hang on, between here, to take this gap up so that when you're pressing it out, because unfortunately you're pressing here, so there is going to be the tendency for it to want to twist like that. So yeah, it's about just under 3mm, so I'll find some steel to pop on there, under there, probably just tack weld it. You know, just a couple of pads each side, and if need be, just you know, run a mill over the top just to bring them down to size. They're nearly, yeah, they're about 2.7mm. That needs to come up, and then hopefully that should keep that nice and flat when press it out. But yeah, that'll do. So yeah, and I haven't sacrificed all my bit of plate, so when we're done, if we don't do any more aerials, we just chop those off and use those bits and that bit, and yeah, no harm done. Okay, so I've finished milling my separator plate for the aerial leader cranks. So got this, and then these two, what I call fidget shims, just to go in each side. That just takes up the clearance where, I'll pick that up later, where the crankshaft is relieved around the con rod there. You've got this step here, so it's to take up that step there to try and get the crank sitting as flat as possible when we press it apart. Let's get on and set it up. My two jiggle plates, so we'll set them up on there. A few supports, so we've got some space for the crank to drop through. Balance that there a minute. All a bit precarious, like so. And then the separators, and then my jiggle plates. So I've got these two ports set up apart so that the conrod's got room to go down between them, rather than the Bantam one where it went a bit bendy. Amazing how bendy it was. Seemed alright afterwards though. Right, let's see how we get on. Okay, let's line it up. Okay, right. Can't see me pumping, but my hand's here, pumping. Line it up as best we can. Come back a bit. That's it. Check that's got clearance. Yep. Okay, let's pump the weight up a bit. 2 tons. I didn't see it go last time. Went with a crack. 4 tons. Oh, 5 tons. We'll give it a bit. Check it. Checking we're not resting on anything. Right, let's ease it off a bit, let it relax a bit. Sneak up on it again. Okay, 2 tons. Four and a half tons. All loose. And going down nice and squarely. Don't think that's riding on anything. Oh yes, it's resting on the corner of the... Need a bit of a spacer to go in there. Finish it off. Bear with, I'm going to get a bit of rod. I reckon the nut might do the job. I haven't got much further to go. And we've broken the back of it, so I think that will just pop out. Stand by your beds. Oh. One more nut. I think that'll do it. Yeah, that's all it took. There we go. Oh, yeah, I dropped them last time. The rollers stick to the side of the crank. So, there we go. That's one crank side pushed apart. So, there's the other half of the crankshaft with its conrod and the big end bearing. Looking okay. I don't know why it was binding up, but it was tight on this side for some reason. Yeah, don't know. Could have just been gunging it or something. Anyway, yeah, so that's that one split. I did mark it for all those sort of shouting at the screen saying, you haven't marked it before you took it apart. I marked this one. Here's me taking the other one apart. I've done that first. Yeah, I didn't mark that one because I think, as I said, I think it's due for the scrap bin, that one, so I wasn't too worried about it. But we just need to get them apart and then pop over to Dean's and have a look at these Lambretta rods. See how much work needs doing to convert them so that they'll go on the Ariel cranks. Yeah, crankshaft splitting. Done. So there you go, the jiggle plate and the spongle slips worked perfectly. Push that crankshaft apart, no trouble at all. Yeah, they don't look too bad. But like I say, we're going to look at some Lambretta rods. I don't know if I'm repeating myself, probably am, but they are a 104mm centre to centre, or rod length as they call it. So same rod length as the Ariel ones. So we just got to see what size the crank pin is, and yeah, the bearings aren't a problem because if we use the Lambretta crank pin and machine these flywheels to fit the pin, that cures that problem. And then we just got the problem with the top end. Hopefully we can find a Lambretta rod that takes a 14mm gudgeon pin the other end, and then Suzuki pistons can be used, because Dragonfly's done the work on that and gives you the info where you need to sort of trim the pistons down to fit and work properly in the Ariel leader stroke arrow. So yeah, we're sort of making progress, but I'll pop over to Dino's sometime because he's got a Lambretta crank that's been lent to him, so we can sort of take it apart, have a look, have a measure and see where we need to go from there. So yeah, well, I thought I might as well push it apart and have a look. Oh, good thing I did, because that circlip's got pushed out on the captive bolt that holds the cranks together. This one here. It's can you see? Yeah, push the circlip out there, look. So the only way you can get to that is by taking a crank apart. Not so great. Anyway, onwards and upwards. What do you mean? What's this? Ah, these. Yeah. I was on eBay and picked up some RD250 reed valves. Why, Mr. Tweed? Well, you know, reed valves. It's got to go faster, hasn't it? Surely. Anyway, we'll look at that another time. But yeah, they're just sitting there for the moment. But I'll tell you my reasonings later. But it's time for a cup of tea. So another little project. It's got these turn up 2 bolts for this, which is an old record bolt cropper. Yeah, so there's 2 bolts and they're a really weird thread. Yeah, 1532 by 20 threads per inch. And also, just to make it more complicated, one is a standard bolt and then the other one has a left-handed thread on it. Look, see, turning it the other way. See, yeah. Turn it out, it goes in. These are really hard, but obviously they're not brittle, because you can see they're sort of, they're all over the place. They look like one of those, you know, those joke bolts. I'll see if I can find a picture of all those strange bolts for getting you out of all sorts of situations. Yeah, they look like a pair of them wobbling all over the place. Yeah, so I need to turn 2 bolts up. So for this little project, we've got a bit of EN24T, high carbon steel. Tensile strength is 830 to 1000 Newton millimetre squared, and it's 248 to 302 on the Brinell hardness scale. Yeah, sounding like Dean at Retro Mechanica, aren't I? Yeah. Anyway, so got this. We're going to stick it in the lathe and make a start, turning the ends down and shaping our bolts. Okay. So I went ahead without you and turned down each end of the shaft to create the shank of my bolt. And then on this end I've turned the left hand thread just because I wanted to concentrate and not get it wrong. Yeah, so you just run the lead screw in reverse and cut from the inside outwards to create your thread. So that's gone quite nicely, and yeah, it's a nice sturdy fit there, you can see. I think when these go into the croppers, you sort of adjust these up so the handles are tight but still move, and then there's a locking plate that goes over the heads of the bolts to keep them in position to stop them coming undone. So yeah, pleased with that. And if we look at the old bolt, you'll see the state of it and the state of fit. I think this is the one. Yeah, so this is what we were going by, so we're having to take the measurements off this. I'm sure there's a bit of a stretch here, but as I've said, as these I suspect are sort of adjustable, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And have I picked up the right one? No. Where's the other one? Bear with. Ah, yeah, found it. It was hiding. Yeah, so if we pop this in, pop it in about the same position, you can see the amount of play on the old thread. So set me stop, turn the bar around the other way, and then we're ready to sort of do the other side. Just remember to turn the lead screw the other way. Set the tailstock to 50, and that's my end stop, just there. I'll bring the carriage back to the stop. That should put me in the same position. I'm going to be using the Angest fast threading attachment, so I'll take my stop off and set my stop underneath, because we're coming in this way, so we'll be cutting the thread the opposite direction. So the Angest will start cutting the threads, and then it will knock out and stop cutting on my mark here. I'll just withdraw the tool, come back, and then reset the Angest, and it will come back in again. And round and round we'll go. Just fire up the noise machine. There we go, that's better. Yeah, that's set quite nicely. And what I've got to do is I'll just file around on the end here to match the old ones. So move this out of the way for a minute. There we go, so we match around, just put a little chamfer on there for cutting the thread. Yeah, all looks okay. And because of the Angest screw cutting box of tricks, we can crank the speed up a little bit. Well, we can go a lot faster, but set the cross slide to 0, put a bit of depth of cutting, off we go. Cross slide out, back we go, cross slide in, back to 0. Put a bit more feed on. Keep going. Okay, got a point-to-point micrometer that I'm using just to act as a slip gauge sort of thing, just as a guide to see how far we need to go. Measured it on the old thread. Yeah, it's still quite a way yet. Yeah, a bit tight, just a touch more. That'll do. Right, 2 bolts. So just got to put them on the mill, put the hex head on the end, and a bit of rounding off with a file. I've got a bit of a rounded off profile there. Try and copy that. Yeah, get in there. So how did we do? Well, not too bad. We now have a set of left hand and right hand threaded bolts for a record bolt croppers, all turned up. Parted them off and then shaped the heads slightly to try and match the originals. I didn't try and match the odd shape of the originals. I just kept these ones sort of straight. Thought that was the best thing to do. So there you go. Record bolt cropper bolts. So there you go. Ariel crank all split apart, ready to go for inspection. Yeah, take it over to Dino's and we'll sort of wave these Lambretta rods around and see what we can come up with. Yeah, and those little special bolts turned out, so another little project done and out the way. Yeah, and as I was at London on Sunday at the London to Brighton, when I'd done my marshalling duties and we'd cleared our stage, I sort of stood there and filmed a few of the cars going past for your entertainment. Yeah, so here's those. Just a short burst, just to give you a feel of the event. Okay, here we go. Good luck.
Not just it's the bend, but
So there you go, a bit more movement on the Ariel. Yeah, still going downwards. Hopefully we'll come upwards eventually. Yeah, I'll pop those cranks along to Dean one day. We'll have a coffee and look at these Lambretta conrods and see if that's an option. I think it is. I think they've been mentioned before. So that was that. Nice little bit of engineering, turning those bolts up. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give us a little like and subscribe, as we always say. Yeah, bully your families to subscribe and all that. People you don't like, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, before I go, little shout out to John. John, you know who you are, who generously gave me this big steak. No, not big steak. Big steak. Down here. Yeah, on the anvil. Yeah, so a lovely thing, and I think it will come in handy, especially sort of sheet metal work and forming. It's got a nice sort of crisp edge to it. So yeah, it was originally used, I think John was saying, worked for a company that made artificial limbs. You know, when they were made out of, when they used to make them out of steel, things like that, the craftsman there used these stakes to form some of the limb parts. Yeah, so it's got a bit of history with it as well. So it fits the anvil quite nicely, but as you can see, I need to do a little bit of work on my hole. No, the anvil hole. God, you lot. Yeah, needs to, it's a bit of a sort of rough finish in there, and so I need to go in with the old finger sander and try and clean up the size, try and square it up a bit so that the stake is a sort of, you know, a more stable fit in there. It'll work okay, but yeah, try and improve it a little bit, give it a coat of the old Olatrol just to preserve it, and yeah, a very handy addition to the anvil. So yeah, cheers John. So that'll do you. Yeah, all right, I'll see you later. Anyway, I've got to go and get some milk from Mrs. Tweed. Yeah, better put the old alarm on just to keep the public away. See you later. Bye. Hello and welcome to Tweed's Garage. In this video we're doing bits of oh, still on. So there's that, and I think that's about it. Yeah. Oh. Hello, welcome to Tweed's Garage. In this video I can't see anything. Doing a bit more on the Ariel, having a little bit more. Ugh. Newton millimetre squared. Can't remember what that is. So, yeah, when I was in London,